Welcome everyone to the second Wombat AMA, or AWA as we call it. For those who see me for the first time ever, my name is Olga. I'm responsible for content and community management. You probably saw me a couple of times on Telegram and heard my voice on Earnest Reviews. As always, today I have with me our SEO. Hello, Adrian.
Hello, everyone.
So how's it going? We've been quite busy since the last AMA, right? We outlined our plan for new games, for new tokens, for everything. Let's update the community on that front a little bit. Let's start with Wombat. What's new with the best EOS and TOS wallet in the space, probably ever in the history?
Truly ever in history. Yeah, so we've had a lot going on, especially in the DeFi space. I mean, obviously, DeFi is a big topic in general in the blockchain space, but also in EOS. So we've listed and partnered up with quite some new projects that are out there in the DeFi space. So we've had Organics coming up, DeFi's network, and quite a bunch of others. I'm actually personally really excited about Organics, and I think that this has huge potential. There's a similar product called Synthetics, but anyway, we'll get to that later, I guess. So there's a lot of DeFi stuff going on. We also launched a new functionality within Wombat where you can swap your EOS tokens for PBTC, which is the wrapped Bitcoin on the EOS blockchain. And we're currently working on quite a bunch of smaller improvements, and we're rolling them out throughout the next weeks across all clients. So on Android, on iOS, and on Chrome.
Okay, that's a lot of things. But I guess we are mostly sort of we are dedicated to improving Wombat, right? But it's Womplay that is kind of at the heart of our team to move it forward, to make it better. How did we do in that?
I think maybe even better in on Wombat, right? It's been just a few weeks, but we've been launching an awesome set of new games on Womplay. Yesterday we launched Lords Mobile, which is one of the top 20 games worldwide on mobile. And so as far as I can tell, like I personally love it. And as far as I can tell, a lot of people from our community also love it. So I would really love to see a bunch of folks gearing up in the Womplay guilds that we have in Lords Mobile, and play together, because I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm already Castle 9, I believe. So I've been quite busy here.
What a brag! Like.
But we've also launched Archive last week. We launched Zoo 2, My Free Farm 2.
A lot of things, yeah. And quests.
quite a bunch of games. Sorry?
And quests.
And we launched quests, right? So now I think basically everyone has noticed them. In the upper right corner, you see that little scroll on Womplay, and this gives you a new quest pretty much every day, so that you can fulfill, and you get some extra Wombucks. We're obviously working on creating quite a bunch of more different quests that will give you a little bit of more diversity there. But we've also launched new challenges. So we now have time-based challenges in Womplay, where you can collect or compete in terms of playtime. And together with Lords Mobile yesterday, we also launched a new milestone challenge. So there's going to be more challenges and more quests on a weekly basis, basically.
That's pretty exciting. Don't want to spoil anything, but know, guys, that with the ongoing 2 challenges, we're already creating new ones. And after the AMA, you might want to check out sort of a cheat way of getting ahead in the Lord's Mobile Challenge. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right.
Yeah.
But I would first want to thank everyone who sent us your questions. It's actually amazing to see how engaged you guys are. We didn't expect so many people to hop on this AMA idea the first time, and this time there were more questions, and they were even I think they were much deeper, so to say, than what we had before. But let's go over these. A lot of these are about Womplay, which is understandable because this is such an awesome platform. But let's talk about something that kind of worries people the most, I guess. What's up with the rewards? A lot of people were super excited for our special New Year's edition of the prize pool, right? And now they're wondering, since many people came in to Womplay, will it ever go up? Will numbers go up, Adrian?
Numbers will go up. Yes, I can actually announce right here, right now. It's fresh from the press, basically. There will be an increase in prize pool this week. So not like with the prize pool with the reward pool that we're paying out next week. So on Friday, we'll be showing up the new number, and this will be continuously increasing from now on. So we're planning to increase it every week, at least for the next couple of months. I don't want to spoil too much, but we will be increasing it because we're obviously seeing that there's a lot of activity, and we want to reward that activity accordingly.
Well, you heard it here first. That's pretty exciting. You people got to start stacking Wombats because this is about to get much more interesting, to say the least. But
or earn more next week.
Yes, and that. What about the milestones that we have on Womplay? Because we still have a lot of people who started way early back in September. Shout out to them, the legacy players. Will we ever reset those so that people could, I don't know, start a new game in a new world and get $1 again?
Well, we don't really plan to do that because it's a little bit of a difficulty to kind of know that this is really kind of a reset, right? For us, it's hard to get the data because we always have to work with the publishers there, and we don't always get accurate data about that, or data that would allow us to reset the rewards here or the milestones. But we will have more challenges that should allow also the folks who have been around for a while to earn a little bit extra and to get direct rewards rather than $1.
That's fair. I'm actually curious to see how this pans out because I'd love to see the old guard coming back into the game and show them the newcomers how it's done. I guess the other question that we also got sort of ties into this one as well. That some people think that Womplay is becoming boring and less appealing. Half-Life, huh? What are we going to do about it, Adrian?
So, I mean, I don't know, but if we launch games like Lords Mobile, how is that not appealing?
That is true.
You can even make money by playing such an awesome game. So I don't know. It's really hard to answer that because it's in the end, it's always about the games, right? So we want the games to stand for themselves for now, and people to be able to enjoy those and earn some rewards on top. However, as I pointed out earlier, so we're working on more quests and more challenges to kind of keep it interesting for people to come back every day or every week. But we're also we have so many ideas about items, about milestones within Womplay, about badges, about VIP systems, about other cash out mechanisms that we're currently really just sketching out. There's so many things that are still to come outside of just the games themselves that we're launching. And by the way, there will be at least one new game every week coming up. So I think that it's totally worth sticking around and using Womplay and earning rewards and just check in every week so that you can find the new games, find new challenges, and earn more Wombucks.
That is true. I heard there was a recurring kind of a sentiment in the community that Womplay needs big games like Call of Duty, this and that. Can you ever picture or sort of imagine big mainstream games coming to Womplay on desktop?
For sure. Right now, in a way, we're focusing on mobile, and desktop is a very different game when it comes to how publishers do their work, basically. So we have to be careful with that. It's obviously something that we're looking at and that we would love to do. But for now, there's so many games that we would like to have listed on mobile that we're going to be busy for the next, years if we want to get them all listed. But we're going step by step, right? So we now launched Lords Mobile, and we're working on a bunch of other really, really cool games and really cool IPs. And we're trying to get the best games that are out there onto Womplay, and whether that's on mobile or on desktop, that will the games will decide that for us, right? So eventually, in the more distant future, we also envision desktop, but yeah, that's a significantly different thing for us.
What kind of or how do I put it? If you were to list a major desktop game on Womplay tomorrow, or like your top 5 major desktop games for listing Womplay on Womplay, if we were to do that, I don't know, next month,
then I would tell you.
But what are they?
Which ones?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Don't ask me. I'm probably not that much of a mainstream appeal in terms of game taste. So for me, it would be a lot of sports games, to be very honest.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, those are perfect for grinding Wombucks, I think. I don't know, create a team with this and that player, or get into the major league, something like that.
Probably like win a championship in NBA 2K, or get your 99 strength Cristiano Ronaldo in FUT. Well,
Yeah, that would definitely be super cool. But yeah, hopefully, it's not going to have to take us years. But you folks also got to realize that mobile gaming is awesome. We're all for it, and we encourage everyone to kind of, see past the bias that people tend to have towards it compared to major desktop games.
A good first step would be if we could launch Call of Duty Mobile or like PUBG
PUBG
Mobile,
Mobile, yeah.
and games like that, right? So give us a few more months, and we hope to get you some of these games as well. That I don't I mean, yeah, like you said, I think that mobile gaming is a little bit underrated, especially by people
Yep.
who have been playing on consoles and desktop a lot, including myself until a few years ago, actually. But now I actually hardly like play on console. I have a like unfortunately I don't have a PS5 yet, but I have a PS4, and I used to play that a lot, but it takes so long to actually get it started as compared to a mobile game, which like you carry your device with you anyway. So that's what's really cool about mobile games.
Yes, that is very true, and it's very encouraging that they actually have that major desktop games have the mobile versions now, and vice versa. I think it's for like interconnectivity. This is pretty cool. But since we're on the topic of games, will Womplay ever release own game?
Well, that question can be tackled twofold, right? One part of it could be, will Womplay ever be a game itself, right? And
That's one way to look at it.
the second part of the question would be, would it make sense for us under OnePlay to launch our own games that yeah we could offer to our users then? And to be very fair, we're we're not experts at um, building mobile games so far, right? So if we want to do that, then we would have to build up a lot of capacity and expertise on that end. So that's nowhere close to actually like realization. But it would like I would so much love to for OnePlay to be kind of an ecosystem like Roblox, where people can just play games and have assets in these games and basically carry them around and actually like use their crypto to like trade assets, trade items that you can use in these games on a marketplace and stuff like that. Kind of a like slightly decentralized Roblox where you have all these games, and I would so much love that. And so this is kind of a vision that I carry in my head um, for OnePlay, which if we could ever realize that, that would be really awesome. But that's a long path, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is. Okay, but hey, that's still encouraging. I think if we can bring some game and more game elements to Womplay besides Quest, I think people kind of have a much smoother sort of switch to this gaming mode, and we just have more fun on the platform.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been asking that earlier, right? And we have these questions from our long-term community members. eh, like, what's in for them? What's new for them after they've played a while? And this is something that we're putting more and more emphasis on. So this like gamification topic is becoming bigger and bigger. And like I said earlier, quests are only the very first beginning of that, and we're we're looking into items where people can like get temporary boosts for earnings or for other aspects that are relevant in one play, but also like collectibles that can improve your experience and improve your earning, and that you will also be able to trade on a marketplace. So there's a lot of things that we're looking into. It's just it all takes so much time,
It
and
does.
the it's yeah it's really hard, and we're still a small team, so we have to balance and prioritize a lot. But we're hearing you, and we're on it.
See, folks, there's nothing to worry about. We will do our best so that you can have the best experience in Womplay. But besides Womplay, we have Wombat. We have all of these ideas. We are deeply connected with the EOS infrastructure, with the EOS niche in space. And one of the questions we had considers, I guess, something on a much larger level than just Womplay or just Wombat is when are we going to include the African region on a larger scale? So, is there a way, or like, do we have a plan for making our products, for making the space itself more inclusive for various regions? I guess it doesn't only necessarily concern the African region, but like the all of the parts of the world. Are we to truly remain global, or do we have a plan for kind of you know tailoring users' experience to where they're coming from, their cultural background and struggles, I guess?
So in general, we want to be global, right? So blockchain is one of the cool things about blockchain is that it's borderless by definition, and you can move assets and whatever else you want to move in terms of digital goods on the blockchain. You can move them from one country to another, from one area to another, very, very easily, and it doesn't know any borders, right? So that's something that has always fascinated us, and that's one of the main reasons why we're doing what we're doing, so that everyone can actually enjoy the power of blockchain. So that specifically includes all regions and all countries in the world. However, we obviously have a huge interest in making the experience for everyone as good and as powerful as possible. So what we would like to know, specifically when it comes to Africa, what is it that we can do to make the experience for you even better, right? Is
Yep.
that other login methods? Is that localization? I mean, we're currently English only, right? That's a huge topic. Whether or not we translate the app, we're getting a lot of questions, basically from countries all around the world, whether or when we will localize Wombat or Womplay to their language, to their region. So the question first is, like, what is it that you need? And because some things are very easy and some things are very difficult, but the easy things may still have a huge impact, right? And they still may lead
Yep.
to a lot more inclusion of certain people. So basically, just let us know what you need. What is it that you need? Because we also want to encourage local communities to actually start using Wombat or Womplay. But I mean, probably we're talking more about Wombat right now. Is start using Wombat to do whatever you think is helpful for you, whether that's payments. We've had these examples of folks in South America and like Venezuela, for instance, paying with coffee tokens for coffee, right? And we have
Oh yeah,
a
that's
lot of
great.
these. We have a lot of these kind of local use cases. Let us know what you're using Wombat for, or what you would like to use Wombat for. And even if that's just um, paying for something with your own token in your local community, and it's very, very small, local, this can still be very powerful, right? Even if just a few hundred people are using this. If you have a means of paying very, very easily and simply and free, right? That can be very, very powerful. And with DeFi, what's cool about that is that not only is there a lot of theoretical kind of you can do X or you can do Z or Y, but you can actually give value to a token in a very simple way. So you can basically just stake liquidity for a token against EOS, and then it's immediately tradable, and it has a value, and it has a value that the market assigns to it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what's so fascinating. So anyone who has ideas about tokens and how they can be used and how they can get value, they like please feel free to reach out to us because we can help you with that, right? We've been doing that. I mean, that's part of our core business actually with Wombat, that we enable you to transfer value and to exchange value as seamlessly as possible. And I think that the EOS blockchain has a great potential here because it's very fast. It's pretty much free, especially when you use Wombat. And yeah, you can do all that you like can imagine when it comes to exchanging tokens for one another or lending or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I would also just like to add that not only do we encourage people to sort of exchange value, but to create it as well. So if you have not only just the ideas about what you would like to see on Wombat, but if you want to develop something, you are more than welcome to come to us. We will consult you, launch your token, assist you within our power. We're very happy to do that. Yeah, I actually, since we're on this kind of a more global level of things, I guess, I was very sort of happy to see that the community members are wondering about more fundamental things like bridges between blockchains. We um, we got this very interesting question about interconnectivity. So a lot of projects they to sort of water it down to a very beginning level. They operate on different, like within different networks, but they do try to connect via bridges to make things easier for people, essentially. You also already mentioned that with Wombat, creating moving value is easier and free. But are we actually doing anything like on a bigger scale in this regard? You already mentioned PBTC, which is a great start, but are we going to make Wombat more of an inter-blockchain hub or create new protocols, maybe?
Yeah, so there's sometimes you're packing so much of a question into
Oh,
a
I know,
question.
but I'm just so
So
excited that people do
there's
want to know these things.
it's fine. It's fine. So there's multiple aspects to that again, right? And one of them is, are we working on an interoperability protocol ourselves? And the short answer is, and clear answer is no. There are so many awesome interoperability projects that are working on really, really complex and really, really awesome stuff. I mean, Polkadot is they're
Oh
mostly
yeah.
based here in Berlin. They're being very like very successful with their token right now, and there's a lot of people building upon it, and there's a lot of people who are convinced that this has a bright future. So we're closely looking at that, obviously. There's a ton of other interoperability protocols. I mean, you mentioned P tokens, who are doing
Mm-hmm.
a great job in moving assets that are native on other blockchains like Bitcoin or Ethereum onto the EOS blockchain. So that's great because we don't have to do it, right? Because one thing is actually to build that technically, which is typically very difficult because multi-blockchain is hard by like pretty much by
It is.
definition. Um, But another thing is to get adoption for it, and P tokens have had a really great track record getting incorporated into EOS Phoenix, and we've been doing a lot. So they're having a lot of success right now with PBTC, for instance, on EOS. So that's great too, right? The other part of that question is, will we integrate with other blockchains outside of the EOS ecosystem? And there, the clear answer is yes, we will. It's mostly a matter of time, because here again, it takes a little bit of time. It's not per se like anything novel to integrate with a blockchain like Ethereum, but for us, we want to kind of keep the standards in terms of user experience that we have on EOS and Telos right now, and while offering more blockchains. And this is not easy, right? Because on EOS, paying for CPU and paying for the resources is something that's pretty straightforward nowadays. It wasn't when we started with it, but it is nowadays. But on Ethereum, that's really, really hard. So we're considering our options here, and considering how we should move forward with that. But yeah, we are trying to keep a certain standard of how easy is it to use that before we actually really launch something.
That is, what can I say? It is pretty difficult to manage several blockchains, and Ethereum is so much more different than EOS. Don't want to kind of throw the stone in the yard there, but the user experience in a number of ways is not really on par with EOS. And but yeah, as you said, we'll do our best to alleviate this. About speaking of the more like a crypto related things specifically, not just blockchains. How can one detect a fraudulent project? What are those shady coins we've seen in the market now? People want to sort of, get their funds safe. They've earned EOS very hard, and they don't want it to be gone anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, that's difficult, right? Because even projects that look good and that have been around for a while may actually exit scam, just like what happened with Big Game, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So it suddenly imploded. They walked away with the money that was, I don't know, I think a seven-digit figure in EOS that was gone, and the token price imploded, and everything was bad. And nobody, like hardly anybody, would have considered Big Game an issue before that, or a scam coin or whatever, right? But in general, as a hint, if there is a super high return on investment that's being promised, please become skeptical about that and be wary of these projects. We've seen that through the yield farming wave. It's kind of over now, and so there's not a new project coming up every day, unlike like 4, 5, 6 months ago, where it seemed like, yeah, you can easily make 12,000% annualized percentage yields, right? Which is typically not true for most people, only for the ones being in it like really, really early and getting out in time. That's the most difficult thing there, because you would have to kind of sell fairly early on to actually realize your return. Otherwise, the token would be dumped, because if many people mine a token, then the price will inevitably go down on a short notice. So I would be looking out for a few key components here. So first of all, if it's kind of a DeFi thing, then please look out whether or not the smart contract is multi-signed or has a multi-signature approach. So you can see that, for instance, on the EOS X DeFi listing, and also in our DeFi list, right? There's another thing that if they promise super high returns, then I would be careful. And apart from that, if you look at the liquidity pool sizes on DeFi Box or DeFi's network, that usually gives you a little bit of a hint into how much belief there is into this project. So, for instance, if you go to DeFi Box and you just check out like the liquidity pool of the token that you're looking at, and there is only one person providing liquidity for it and
Then,
nobody
yeah.
else, then I mean, at least you should have another look, right? And if the liquidity is not much, it's just like 500 EOS or so, then yeah, just be careful, just watch out. So these are some hints, but it's generally fairly hard to like check out whether something is a scam. It's also hard for us on a short notice, which is why we typically, like, we cannot guarantee that something is a legit token, even if it gets listed within Wombat, even though we're trying to do our best to not let these coins in. But if we get a lot of requests from people who want that coin listed, then we'll typically list it, even if we can't judge that it's a scam, or whether or not it's a scam.
Yeah, it could be difficult to keep the balance between what people kind of want to have or transfer or whatever, and our security concerns, whichever we might have, right? But we do sort of have a vetting process for that, which is why.
There's one more thing if we're talking about scams, because we've had a handful, not many, but about maybe 5 or 6 users in the last month or two who have been well, victims of these schemes. So there's been a popular scam scheme where people would pretend that block one would have to kind of pay out EOS. So that's not happening. EOS block one is not paying out EOS, and they haven't been fined to do that, and there's nothing like that going on. So if you see a site that pretends that you have to sign a transaction on a block one page and you will get EOS, don't touch it. And ideally even report it to us so that we can blacklist it, because it's yeah, these addresses keep changing, right? So even if we blacklist one of those, and we make it harder for users to access it, there will be a new site a week later. And so they've been adapting a lot, but please reach out to us and let us know that you've seen such a site where block one is promising that they would be paying out EOS. This is not happening. This is always a scam.
See, people, be careful out there. And as always, if you see any of our, if any of our team members just messages you out of the blue, start sending you links or anything on Telegram, you know what that is. Don't engage with them.
Yeah, Telegram impersonators are.
Yeah, it's a hotbed for scammers, essentially.
Yeah.
I wish they can have more, I don't know, a better vetting process for these. But nothing we can do about Telegram personally. But speaking of, even like the legit projects, legit tokens sometimes might kind of cause their holders distress because of the price. Adrian, what is your kind of the shortest and probably the simplest take on why is there so much crypto fluctuation? Why Bitcoin drops and Ethereum rises? Why is all of this?
I mean, there's no simple answer to that,
True.
unfortunately. First of all, like if you're looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum, you should be happy with the price development over the last
Yeah,
few
that's
months,
true.
right? So that was also one of the main reasons why we added PBTC, like this kind of native PBTC swap to Wombat, so that people could very easily get into Bitcoin and basically use that price, or like be invested in that price.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bitcoin has been doing much more in terms, or has a much higher price action than, for instance, EOS itself, right? Unfortunately, the EOS price hasn't been pulled up by Bitcoin as much as other tokens have, and so we can get to that in a second. So in general, there is a lot of demand right now for Bitcoin. There's a Cash App in the US, and also PayPal have launched their Bitcoin, Ethereum,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
Litecoin
true.
and so on service on PayPal. So that has caused a huge demand for Bitcoin. There's a lot of institutional investors coming in, so like banks and funds. There's this story of large publicly listed companies like MicroStrategy, who are getting invested in Bitcoin as a treasury mechanism. So basically just for their savings, for their company
Mm-hmm.
savings. So MicroStrategy are basically converting all their excess earnings in cash. They're converting that into Bitcoin, which is crazy. If you think like 2 years back, nobody would have touched that, but now publicly listed companies do that. So in general, there's a super high demand for Bitcoin, and with that comes a rise in price in general, right? So, but now we see huge fluctuations, and now people may say, okay, Adrian, why are you talking about huge demand and the price going up if the price dropped from 40K to 32 within the last 3 weeks? That is because there's still a lot of players who can easily set the market price because they simply own so much of Bitcoin, right? So such a high percentage of the total money that's bound in Bitcoin. So with a few hundred million dollars, you can actually move the price of Bitcoin up considerably or down. And this is what's happening. There's a few people who are actually using the large volatility that they create, so the large price movements, to make even more money. But that is, in my opinion, this is not investment advice. Obviously, we're not in that space right now. But in my opinion, this is just a short-term thing, and also people or companies like MicroStrategy, they're not bothered by that. But yeah, it can cause a lot of distress. But if you have a plan, just follow the plan. If you want to invest in Bitcoin, then do so. If you don't, then don't. Don't let yourself get talked into that or talked out of it. If you want to do that, go ahead. And that's what's cool about this buy Bitcoin feature that we have within Wombat. You can exchange tiny little amounts of EOS.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's
you
micro
can
investment. It's
yeah,
safer.
you can actually put as little as like $0.50 worth of EOS into Bitcoin, and it still works, right? You don't have to do KYC or whatever. You can use the EOS that you've earned in Womplay and buy a little bit of Bitcoin. So you have your first Bitcoin exposure, and PBTC are as good as like real Bitcoin, because for each PBTC there is a real Bitcoin stored by P tokens in the P tokens custody, and so it's actual Bitcoin. It's just that they're not floating on the Bitcoin blockchain; they're floating on the EOS blockchain. So that's a good way of actually finding out whether it's for you or not, because you can just invest very tiny amounts. You don't have to like pay $5 in fees to make your first trade.
Exactly. And since it runs on the EOS blockchain, it means that it's harder, better, faster, stronger.
It's faster and cheaper. Yeah.
For sure. All right. I think our community members have been waiting for quite a while for the live questions section. Again, thanks a lot to everyone who came to the stream and asked something that bothers them or they find something they're curious about. Following up on the question about us being more inclusive in our products and whatnot, that's actually a good point. Are we ever going to include kind of offline games on Womplay somehow? Because as our community member there points out, a lot of African communities do not have access to internet at all times, right? Which may be a problem. Are we going to do anything about it? Do we have any solutions in mind or plans to all these solutions?
Well, we have to kind of deal with how publishers and game developers build their games. And unfortunately, right now, many games have like kind of this always online kind of thing, that's true. It's not tailored to regions, for instance, with small bandwidth, and that doesn't have to be Africa. That can be Berlin as well.
Yeah,
We're having our problems with both landline and mobile networks here too. So we know maybe in a different way what you're talking about. So if you have games that are like real offline games, and you want to have them listed, what we can do is basically check out whether that's a viable option for Womplay, and we can talk to we can reach out to the publishers and check out with them whether that's an option and what we can do also in terms of like rewards that we can pay out to users, right? So yeah, please make suggestions in terms of which games you would like to see that are offline games that you would like to play, because yeah, there's a ton of like I used to look out for offline games myself, especially when you're like somewhere where you don't have connectivity. You might want to play them, and that's not possible really with many of the games that's right. So that's a great idea. That's a great suggestion.
For sure. That's actually, like, even if you think about it, you can just take Womplay anywhere with you technically if you have an offline game. If like, I don't know, if you are, for instance, on a vacation at your grandparents' house, there's no internet. It's just nature. You just want a little bit of those Wombats in them. Tune in and take a little bit of a digital retreat from all that.
And take your phone with you and still play games on your phone,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Speaking of the other games, there is one community member asking about Dragonfly, a TLS-based game. We have had the previous game from this publishers before on Wombat. Are we going to have Dragonfly?
On Wombat, yes. I'm not sure. It should be listed already. I can't look it up right now. I mean, if it's not there yet, we'll do it very soon. On Womplay, that's a little bit more difficult because yeah, we would need to get a little bit of kind of event data, like right, when you reach castle level 5 in Lord's Mobile or level 90 in Tasty Tale, we first need to know that you've done that, and before we can actually pay out some rewards for that. So we would have to build something like that for Dragonfly.
Oh yeah, but
I really like the game. It's fun.
Yeah, really brings back the sort of the memories of classics like Flappy Bird. but you can also get some crypto for that, which is really nice. Actually, new games seems to be a hot topic in the YouTube chat now. People are asking when are we going to add new games, as always, every week.
Yeah, so we're getting back to the schedule that we wanted to actually establish last year. It was a little bit interrupted by the holiday season, but we're back on track to launch a new game every Monday, right? So every Monday after early afternoon Berlin time is our usual schedule for new games, and yeah, we have the next games lined up, and I don't really want to spoil the surprise, but we've got a few really interesting games coming up as well. And we're also looking for a little bit of diversity in terms of games. So we're also looking for games that are like yeah, a little bit different styles, different genres, different appeals, and so on, so that there's something for everyone. And yeah, there's there will be a new game, at least one new game a week.
That's pretty exciting. I actually wanted to like follow up with a question about the genre diversity. Will we ever see, I don't know, some kind of a first-person adventure or a dungeon crawler or, I don't know, a silly dress-up game?
Yeah, I mean, the games are not selected by myself, right? So they're not like based on what I personally like or what Olga likes or what anybody else really likes, but we're trying to kind of keep that balance. But also we need to get in contact with the right publishers who are making these games and so on, and that's sometimes a little bit of a process to actually get an kind of agreement with them, because we can't just list a game that we like, right? So we always have to be in contact with the publishers, and this is not always easy, but we have quite a bunch of publishers in the pipeline, and we're happy to talk to if there's any other publishers seeing that or watch or listening to that. Feel free to reach out to us, to Alex, and we'll get you listed on Womplay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're always trying to keep that balance of yeah, it's got to be technically possible, and we're looking for new and exciting games, and also games that are somewhat different than the portfolio that we already have.
So yeah, if you're developing, I don't know, the next Zelda or an amazing twin stick shooter, please reach out to us, because we'd love to see that in the Womplay, right? Hey, that will be pretty cool. Oh, alrighty then. There were already some questions that you covered. So guys, about the prize pool and everything, don't worry, this is covered in this video. There was a huge announcement, so I want to sort of the slider a little bit back. Find it. Not going to spoil what it is. You're going to have to look for it.
The entire video.
Yes. Just watch the entire video. I mean, put it in the background. It's a nice, I think, conversational kind of an background bit. It's not ASMR, but pretty close to it. Huh? Okay, that looks like we're out of or are we? No, is it in what? About the blockchain gaming studios. Are we going to invest in any, actually?
Would be fun, right? I mean, yeah, we're currently not investors, but if there's like in general, if there's any blockchain game studio that needs help in whatever form, then we're happy to talk. So like I said, we're currently not investing or invested, and we're not planning that. But if there's like anything needed, then there's a ton of options that we can help out with potentially, right? Even if it's not us investing, because we don't view ourselves as investors.
Yeah. So You heard it, folks. We're always here for you. We're always here for the developers who want to embark on an exciting journey of exploring all the possibilities that blockchain brings for gaming, really. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. And as always, we've been happy to be here for you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks a lot, and see you next time. I'm really happy that so many people tuned in.
Bye-bye.